Welcome to our Pirkai Avos Chabura. We are holding chapter one, Mishna 4. Okay, so like I said, we're all here to learn, all of us. So I'm gonna read. What I want to do is I'm gonna read the Mishnah and I'll translate it as best I can, and then I just want to hear what you guys are thinking. And then after that we'll look at the Bartanura, the Rav Ovadia Bartanura, what he says about the Mishnah. He's like the most primary commentator on the Mishnah. And then we'll finish. We'll just do one Mishnah and see. Let's try and mine it. Okay. Yossi ben Yoezer, Ish Tsureda. So there was a Tana, Matt is really before the Tanoim in a sense. He was the Zugois. This is the beginning of the Zugois. With after Antigonus Yisoichoi, we had the Anshe Knesset Gedola, then we had Shimon Tzadik, then we had Antigonus Yisoichoi, who was a Talmud of Shimon Tzadik. And now it kind of moves, Pirkei shifts into a new gear, and it's now these of pairs of great men. Okay. And they're called the Zugos, and they were really the precursor to the Tanoim. I don't know if you call them Tanoim. They're called Zugos. They're like their own thing. So, but yeah, okay. So let's see. So Yossi ben Yoezer, Ish Tzreida. The first one was called Yossi ben Yoezer, Ish Tzreida, and Yossi ben Yochanan Yushalayim. Another one, Yossi, who was son of Yochanan, who lived in Jerusalem. Kiblu Mehem. They were makabel from them. Who's them? Lachoda Anshek Knesset Gedola. I'm assuming. Okay. So this is the Mishnah. Yossi ben Yoezer ish Tzreida oimer. So Yossi ben Yoezer, the man who lived in Tzreida place, he said, Yi veischa beis vad lechachomim. That your house should be a house of meeting for the chachomim, for the sages. Veheve misabek ba'afa ragleihem, and you should kind of like wrestle or like wallow, I suppose, in the dirt of their feet. V'leishoise b'tzama es divreihem, and you should drink with thirst their words. You have it, Jonathan. You have a safer with you. You have it, yeah. Go on, Jonathan. What do you think, man?
Well, the thing that came to my mind is in the Shemona Esrei, we say that we should be like the dust. So that's one thing that came to my mind was just the correlation. In the Shemona Esrei, at the very end, we say, may we be like the dust.
Be like the best.
The dust, the dust.
Oh, be like dust. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm just wondering if there's a correlation between the two because of the language.
But Afaroglov says like wallow in the dust of their feet.
I saw something about dirt, but different than dust.
Yeah.
That dirt is so here it has
Upper is technically like earth, like more than like dust. Although we call it dust sometimes, but it really technically means like mud that you can plant stuff in. That's like the technical definition.
It's gonna look. Is it the same word though, or is it different? I remember the English. I'm trying to remember the Hebrew.
Upper is they do translate it as dust, but the most accurate translation of offer is like earth, dirt, mud. Anyway, sorry, Yitzi, what are you saying?
no, because dirt and dust are very different. Because what I see is that dirt has way more positive qualities because it produces vegetation.
Dust is avak in Hebrew.
Yeah, and what does it say here?
Afar. It says it means dirt, like earth.
And in the Shemona Esrei, it's kafar, which is a kaf ayin fe resh. So it's the same word. Yeah.
That also means like earth. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there a lesson to be drawn from the similar language between the two verses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Wait, Rabbi, isn't afar dirt and avak dust?
Yeah, avak is
Okay.
dust. Like what you get on your books that you blow off.
Yeah,
By
okay, fine.
just a side point, it's not everyone holds this, but there is an opinion that you're not allowed to blow dust off a book on Shabbos. Very interesting. Oh, you saw that, Yitzi, from there.
Third name malachas. I saw that.
I love that. I love that. Anyway,
Do you
so
know why?
It's like separating them.
it's Zohar from like yeah, like so yeah, like it's the same malacha that if you have peanuts with the chaff, yeah. If you go out into the wind and you like drop them from your hand, the peanuts with all the chaff and the wind blows the chaff away, that would be an Issa. Maybe Issa Dorais, I think. Anyway, so that was a side point. So go on. Yitzi, what's this thing? You're saying
I was just, Jonathan is just, going off of that why it says specifically dirt and not dust is because dirt is a lot of positive qualities to it. There's vegetation comes out from dirt. It sticks together. It unites as opposed to dust, which nothing grows from it. And also there's no unity involved. It's all sort of doing its own thing. So I think that's why it's specifically saying dirt here.
you realize that I'm just seeing this now. It says Vaheve misabek ba'afer ragleihem. That's the word for dust, avak.
Mm.
So it's like get dusty in the earth of their feet. That's what it's actually saying.
Well, you think
Oh, wow.
about it, like I like you're saying too, is that you're at the feet of the sages who's supposed to be open to learning and growing and gaining, and dirt is what brings in life. And man comes from dirt, don't forget. That's like the essence. And dust is just try to glean the most minute fragments of their wisdom.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, and don't be intimidated. Get close. Get to their feet. Take what you can get. Even if it's just a little bit, like you're saying.
I like that.
Wait, so wait, so let's backtrack though. Yehi beischa beis vad lechachomim. But your house should be a beis vad, a gathering place for the chachomim. Your house. I mean, Pashat thing is you want them to come to your house to that's where you want quality people in your house to be mashpir onto the house.
Well, yeah, when you talk about Ish Chayil, it says the husband sits with the elders of the wise men of the city. So it's even more, you're not just sitting with them outside the house, you're bringing them into your house.
Yeah, that's what it said. But yeah, it's interesting what it says. It says your house should be. It's different to saying like they should come into your house. It's your house should be a house. That's what your house should be, whether or not they're there or not. In a sense,
Yeah.
it's like that. That's what your house should be. It should be a gathering place for chachamim. Chachamim means, don't get this wrong as well. A Talmud Chacham in the by Chazal means a tzaddik. It doesn't mean just the guy who knows a lot of Torah at all. That's a side point, even in a sense. I'll tell you, it's interesting because there's this guy. I don't even want to mention his name. Yeah, this guy he called it a super siyum every year. If I remember correctly, he made a siyum on Shas Bavli, I think Shas Yerushalmi, Mishnayos, Rambam, Ach, Zoya. It was like I was a super genius. Yeah, he slept a few hours a night, and and it came out that he was Mamasha Russia Marusha, all kinds
Like
of.
what? Come on. Like what was happening?
Put it this way,
How did he have time to do anything bad?
I don't know. He had to divorce his wife. He,
Yeah.
he left. He had to leave the country, and he was disgraced. It was terrible what he was doing. Like I'm talking, like like scandalous. Not just he wasn't saying after brachas, put it that way. It wasn't that he was tearing toilet paper on Shabbos. Yeah, it was Pasha crazy, and it made me think like look, the guy knows more Torah than all of us together will ever know. Yeah, and you're like, that's got to be worth something. Like, okay, you were really bad. You did all this horrible stuff. Yeah, but you knew the whole Torah, you knew everything, yeah? It's nothing. It's worth nothing.
Intelligence is not the same as wisdom.
Yeah. So this guy, so it's interesting because this guy who everybody stands up for and everyone, the minute he was disgraced, it was like people, I like me, I'm not even mentioning his name. I haven't told you who he is. Yeah. And then you get, a simple guy in the shul, an old man, simple guy, not a Talmud Chacham, whatever. You stand up for him, you pay him respect. It's like it just shows you that the actual knowledge of Torah. See, it's very easy for us because it's very like kind of in a sense quantifiable. Like, how do you know where a guy is holding in an inner level? How actually dedicated he is to God and to selfless divine service? You can't know that. But when he knows, what page it is in the Gemara, and he knows this halacha and that halacha, and he knows all the stories and all that stuff. It's much more quantifiable. But Eliba de MS, if you got all of that, but inside it's all corrupt, it's nothing. And if inside it's mamash good and wholesome and straight, and you don't have all of that, that's really valuable. It's really valuable. So it's like in a sense saying your your house, like your house should be a place of chachamim. Again, chachamim is like we said, it means righteous people who also know Torah, but truly righteous people. That's what your house should be.
So you see, you could read it
But
many
I,
different ways. Oh, sorry, go on.
Go on, I just thought something.
no,
Go on.
I
Well, it's
see
like
a commentary from the Tifer Shlomo,
Yeah.
and the Tifer Shlomo said that he explains that the bias refers to our bodies, while our house refers to our neshamas. So in this light, the Mishnah is telling us that one should make sure that his thoughts.
Oh, Michael, I didn't understand. You said in English and Hebrew the same word.
no, the home and the house. He said
Oh,
the
sorry.
difference in the
The
home and the
bias,
house.
no, the bias refers to our bodies,
Yeah.
which house. So that's what the bias, which house our neshamas.
Ah,
So when the Smith is talking about the bias, he's saying that our bodies, that's housing our neshama, should make sure that our thoughts are in line with the ideas of the chachamim. Now, our ideas, our neshamas, are in line with the chachamim in our bias, in our house, which is our bodies, in our goof.
I love that.
I also like you're saying again because you can also say make your home a place for it. If you have good, righteous people into your home, you have to make it a place that's open to them. Make it prepared. Don't let
Which is
the.
also
Sorry, go on.
no, which is also practical, meaning how many houses can a tzaddik go to? He can't rent 1,000 houses, but if you're prepared for him and you live a life like that.
That's good. Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Michael, what do you so
Meaning it says prepare your house, that the chachamim should sit in your house and you should learn from the dust of their feet. How many houses can they gather at? If they went to a different house every day, 365 houses. Okay, but there's 10,000 people that live in the city. So how are
yeah.
they coming to your house? So prepare your house. Be a house, like what Jonathan's saying is be a house that they would come to.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's one way you can interpret it, and then Shmuel you're bringing down additionally, it's like the inside version, and also you as well is that there's the outer experience, right? Like this guy portrayed himself as such a high figure, but then what's going on behind closed doors? You can tie back into what you're saying, not just into how you conduct your home, but how you conduct your inner sanctum, your inner self.
There's another Mishnah later on that says b'makom she'eino ish lishtado liyos ish. In a place where there is no man, strive to be a man. So I heard one Hocham say one time that means in a place where there's no man, meaning in your inner chambers of your house when you're all by yourself, dafka there strive to be a man. So that's the little sentence what you're just saying. So let's see what the Bartanor says. Let's just read the Bartanor. Yos ben Yoza, Ish Tzreida, Yos ben Yochanan, Ish Yerushalayim. Kol Tanoim and his Kaim Beperek Zeh. Oh, so that's the answer to my question. All of the Tanoim that are mentioned in this Perek, Zug Zug, Ploni Ploni, there is like the pairs, and then so and so and so and so. Kiblu me Ploni Ploni. They received from the ones before. Harisha Mehem Nasi. In the list of the two people, the first one was the Nasi, the Shani of Bastin, and the second one was the of Bastin. Okay, so they were both the leaders of the generation. Okay, Yehi, what does the Rav say? The Yehi Beischa Beis Vad L'Chachomim. He says, "K'sheyirtzu hachachomim liskabes lisvayed," that when the chachomim want to gather together, yiyeh beischa muchan l'davar zeh. That what you just said, Michael. Your house should be ready for this. V'yi regilim loima, and they should be ragil to say niskabes bebeisa shel ploini. The tzaddikim should say, "We're ragil. We can go to so and so's house." Sheyefshar shaloi samad. Samad Mehem Eza Dava Chochma. It's impossible that you will not learn something, like what Jonathan just said. It's impossible you're not going to catch something. Yeah, or maybe Yitzi said that. Okay, Moshlu Moshel. They gave a Moshel. Lemar Dava Doimet. What is this thing similar? Lenichnas lechanuso shel bosom. He goes into a shop of like nice spices, nice smell. Afal is very famous. Afal pisha loy lokach. He didn't buy anything. Mikol makoim reach tov lo kolot. He ended up receiving a nice smell. V'hoitzi imoy, and it went out with him. You go into a nice smelling house, and you walk out smelling nice. Go into an icky smelling house, and you walk out smelling icky. Okay, they're having misabek but offer aglehem, and you should get dusty in the earth of their feet. Koloma shetelech achareihem. You should run after them. Should go after them. I mean, that means they're just on a humble note as well. You should go after them. Chase after them. Humble yourself.
Rav Palm continues this thought about like the spice shop, or what I've seen translated as the perfume shop, that some of it will rub off when you walk out smelling a little bit like the perfume. It says that applies to where you live, who your neighbors are, where you send your kids to school, where you daven, who your chaver are. Because if you're davening a minion that's talking the whole time, if you send your kids to, let's say, not Jewish school, if you have neighbors that their only thing is the latest vacation and, Gashmias type life, you're going to be affected by it, no matter how yasher a life you want to live. But the people you're surrounded with have a real impact on you.
No question.
I was in a mall I don't know, a few months ago with my wife and kids, and I don't know, my wife said, let's go to get some shoes for the kids. The place called Shoe Palace. That's what it's called, Shoe Palace. So we walk in there, and I don't know, I wasn't in the mood to shop, so I put my earphones in, and I was probably listening to one of your shares. I don't know. I just sat down in the store, and for like 20 or 30 minutes, I saw kind of like kids running around the store, and they were getting shoes. The share was over. I took my headphones off, and I realized that the music in the store was like this. It was this hardcore rap. I mean, hard, like just in your face, and it was like, this is crazy. Like, can you imagine being in the store for 8 hours listening to this music? And then I looked up at the people working in the store, and it was unbelievable. They were all tattooed up. They had the earrings everywhere. Then for 8 hours a day, they're listening to this music. I mean, they have no choice to look like that. And I was just, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of the shoe palace. So, yeah, for sure. It's surrounded in the proper environments. Just wanted to add that.
Wow, that sounds like a place that I don't want to go to. Okay, so Mahalech Male Avak Baraglav, because the one who walks, he kind of kicks up dust with his feet. V'hoilech Achrav Mismale Me Avak Shehu Male Baraglav, and the guy who's walking behind him gets dusty because of the dust from the feet of the guy in front of him. What's that talking about, man?
Oh, by the way, tie it in.
Well,
Like if you're making your place where the righteous people are and wise people are, and you're collecting the dust from their feet, when you leave your house, what are you going to trail with you? And it talks about smell. You leave a smelly house. What kind of smell do you bring with you? You leave a house with the earth of Torah. What are you going to bring with you?
yeah. It's interesting. I'm just learning right now in a deep Hasidic sefer the inyan of Reach and Tam, not Reach and Tam, the inyan of Reach and Etzem. There's like the idea of the smell, and then there's the thing that smells. And what Yoel Khan was saying is that the mitzvahs that Avraham and the Avos did before Matan Torah, yeah, they didn't have the ability to penetrate the physical world. Yeah. So he described them as being like smell. And he said two things about smell is number one, it doesn't have any, it doesn't stand. What did he say? Is that the same thing? Doesn't stand. Doesn't stand. And it goes away. That sounds like the same thing. It doesn't have any like solidity, and then it's temporary as well. But that sounds like the same thing. Maybe I'm missing something. Either way, it's just interesting. The idea of smell is it's something that comes off of something. It's never the thing itself. Something has a smell, but it's not. It's a very deep inyan. It really is a deep inyan. It's a beautiful limud. But anyway, Perish Acher. So that's number one. Number one. Yeah, Shetoshav Raglei L'Ragleihem Al Haaretz, that you should put. Oh, sorry. Sheteshev L'Ragleihem Al Haaretz. You should sit at their feet on the floor. Shekachayu nohagin. This was the way, the custom. Sharav Yoshev al Safsel, that the Rav would sit on a seat, on a stool. The Talmidim Yoshvin l'Raglav al Gabe Karka, and the Talmidim would sit on the floor by his feet. Yeah, that's a very healthy. I mean, we're so caught up in the Western, egoic shtuyot, that we're like, like the idea. I was talking to Shir, I was giving a Shir today. I was talking about how important it is for your children to stand up for you, not for you, but for them. It's like in this door saying that is just like weird. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But it's not. It's real. It's very important. It's really an important thing. So it's just like, we're talking about walking behind them, getting dusty in the, getting dusty behind them and then sitting on the floor by their feet as they're talking. The whole thing is, if you want to be makabel from someone, you have to shut up and you have to put him or her on a higher level than you. You have to. And you know what that means on the side of the one who's been mashpia, the Rav? He has to make himself
deserving of that honor.
What?
To make himself deserving of that honor. I mean, if people are going to be giving him kavod, he should at least merit that kavod.
No, for sure. But
more
than that, is he has to give his Talmidim something to look up to. It's one thing but there has to be a level of a Rav. There has to be this level of Malchus. There has to be a level of kind of kingliness or something. I think of it by my Rebbe, my Rosh Hashiva Rav Chaimowitz. Yeah, I don't think you met Yitzi. I don't think you met him when you were here. I don't think Jonathan knows Rav Chaimowitz, and Rav Chaimowitz is just like the. He just had such a malchus to him. He was so like such a nobility. He was like a king. He wasn't. He was the least Gaividic man in the whole world. He is so humble, but he was so easy to make your Rav. Because he had such a majestic kind of. He had such a majesty to him, and that is a Rav needs to do that for his as a chesed for his Talmidim. He really needs to give that to them. It's really so. From Rav Chaimowitz, I always try and think about how you would never catch him with his jacket off. I don't think I've ever seen him with the jacket off, and the amount of times I ever saw him without his hat on probably count on one hand. Never ever have I heard him say a negative word about someone. Never ever have I heard him swear or say anything he just held himself with such a thing. So it helped us put ourselves low and put him high, and that's a very important.
Did you actually physically go low? Because I'm just curious. Like, is that something that that the Mishnah is really pushing that if your rabbi speaking, you should sit on the floor? Because it sounded like you were kind of maybe saying that the Western world would look frown upon it, but maybe we should.
Well, look, he's taller than me, so that was good. But Minastam, the halacha is when you're walking with your Rav, you should be on his left side. He should be to your right side, and you should be hanging back a little bit, trailing behind him. That's the halacha. When you're the halachas are built for these for these ideas. One of the reasons for the halachas is that they're built so you should be when you go to the halacha is when you visit a sick person, you should sit lower than them. That's the halacha. You should sit lower than their bed.
And so if your Rebbe comes and gives a shiur at your home, should you be sitting lower?
Well, that's not very practical, is it? I mean, I'll tell you what. If there was a lower chair,
Really? Yeah, get like kids' chairs and then one big office chair, and then everyone gets like a little baby chair, like a doll's.
Or you could bring out some big podium for your Rav to sit on, and then it just works itself out.
The Eliyahu Hanavi chair,
or a cushion. Practically, put a cushion on that chair. But you know that it used to be with the Queen of England. I don't know if it's now with Charles, that in her car, the back seats would go up and down so that even if Shaquille O'Neal or some 7-foot guy would sit in the same back seat with her, her chair was up and his was lower so that she would always be taller. Really, for real.
Wow, that's so interesting. So,
but can I share a complimentary point to this? It's a different thought. This is in Ruach Chaim of Chaim Volozhin's commentary. He says that the word mitzabek comes from the root of avak, and he brings the pasuk from Bereshis when Yaakov wrestled. It used the words vaye'ave.
Yeah.
And that idea, though, he says, Rav Chaim Volozhin says this teaches that with all the necessary reverence, that a student must challenge his teacher if he has valid questions. So it brings up a totally, yes, you have to have that covered, but also to be able to challenge. And he says that he gives the mashal just like a small piece of wood kindles a larger one, that the questions and thoughts or pushes from the student can sharpen the Rav.
He brings the Gemara in Tainus there. It says a reference to a Gemara in Tainus.
It does not bring it here. I don't see that it's actually quoted.
That is, I mean, and that I think is a chalik of having respect for the Rav, is not letting him get away with something that doesn't make sense. I say that to all the people come to my house. I'm like, don't let your Rabbonim get away with anything. That doesn't mean that you're not coveted to them. Chas v'shalom.
Right.
Don't let them get away with anything. Don't you have to? Nothing. The Torah is perfect. If it doesn't make sense, then there's something off. Sometimes it makes sense that it doesn't make sense, but if it just doesn't make sense, that's wrong.
And one point that Yitzi will like is Rav Wolbe says that one of the lessons to learn from this is you should have a Rav.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do it without that. Yeah. And you need to have a you know what your Ikka question is when you're trying to find your Rav? The Ikka question is who is his Rav? And then the next one after that is who is his Rav?
At Halavai, we should have. I'm just speaking for the people here. I ask people all the time. I told you this so many times. I ask people, "Who's your Rebbe?" And nobody's got an answer. Nobody, 0 people.
It's no one's fault as well, because I'm in this world where there are lots of Rebbes. Not like where you are. There's lots of Rebbes. Isn't that right, Jonathan? There's lots of Rebbes around here, yeah. And
sometimes too many.
Yeah, quite a few.
More with the title than the qualifications.
Bring some here.
Gesundheit. I'd love to
take them.
I'd love to support a bunch of them. but that wasn't nice. Sorry, but it's like Hashem's done it. Hashem's done this to Am Yisrael. That the amount. See what people. We've said this so many times, but what people have decided a Rebbe is he's your mentor, he's a father figure, he is the guy you watch daven and eat, maybe. He's your like your mascot. Yeah, he's like your he's all these things, but he's not your teacher. It's opposite. All those things are fine. He can be your mentor, he can be your Ba'etza, he can be your psychologist and your father figure and your grandfather figure. He can even give you money and he can do everything. That's fine. But really, a Rebbe is a man you learn from. That's what a Rebbe really is. That's really what a Rebbe is. So it's so funny because all of these people that, like I hear a lot of these big Rebbes, they literally, at Shal sometimes they say a few words. Sometimes it's like it's not many of them that are actually people are learning from. It's become more of a kind of mascot figure. It's like
Yeah.
you know. Okay, let's finish off. The last one. This is a really important part of this is a really important one here. I can't think of much more important than this. Shoyse b'tzama es devreihem. Drink their words with thirst. Ka'adam tzama sheshoyse l'savon, like a thirsty man who drinks with appetite, with thirst. Loi ka'adam sova, not like a man who is sated. Shokatz b'mazoino, because he's disgusted by food. Shemoyes afilu b'dvarim ha'ovim v'tovim. He's disgusted even by food that's sweet and good. Drink thirstily. That's that. I can't think of anything more helpful for our quest to truth. Is be super interested. Like mummish, like those guys on Wall Street when they hear of they hear of a deal that there's a certain deal going on, or a real estate tycoon who's hearing some kind of property that's come up for sale, and they're like on the edge of their chair, and they're like that you have to develop that, you really do, and you really can, and it's essential, and you'll see it will cause good things, B'ezrat Hashem. Mikey, you going to say something?
Yeah, I want to wish you a great Shabbos.
Okay, have a good
I
Shabbos.
gotta run.
Chazak v'yamatz. Big chizuk. I love this.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos, good Shabbos.